we're going to do roll call. Councilor Manson, Councilor Tudor, Councilor Thurber, here, and Deputy Warden Ross has sent his regret. Our manager of corporate services, Cora Lee, has sent her regret. Manager of municipal services, Tyler Pulley is here. Our CAO, Jeff Sutherland, is here, and our second tailor, Carly. It is tight. Yeah. Okay, Titus is here, and I know that sounds awful. I don't pay attention. I know what. Never mind.
Do you want these on?
Yeah. Yes, we do, please. If the audience cannot hear, please speak so that we make sure you hear. But sometimes I get a big mouth, but it sometimes doesn't carry. I haven't figured that out yet. Now, I'd like us all to pause and take guidance. Okay. The next is the agenda. Is there any additions or deletions anyone would like?
I move the agenda is presented.
Okay, is there a second? Second. Two for the price of one. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. The first presentation, the only presentation we have, is Dave Boland, concerns regarding King's Transit. Before I ask him before, Dave and I have met, and he's going to read, and I'm going to be doing a little speaking. That's what Dave and I agreed to at our meeting. So it's a little different presentation. We'll still keep it to 20 minutes, but just because of this information Dave did not know at the time. Okay? I'm saying that, could I have a mover to have Dave?
I move that Dave Boland do the whole presentation.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Go ahead, sir.
Warden Gregory.
Oh, you want to turn that on so that Dave can face it towards you so that it's picked up on the air.
Okay. Warden Gregory, council members, thank you for acknowledging my three motions and inviting me to present. Most people know my comments, but I'm going to try to describe some of the background which derives the most concern. We want to keep our high school students here so they can start to build an independent life, working for local businesses, broadening and deepening our community resourcefulness. We want to keep Nova Scotia Community College graduates here, to have our university graduates return to add their contribution to our community's future. The reason many don't stay isn't because we don't have big paycheck jobs, because the obvious is not recognized. We don't give you time to build a life, to be able to get into debt, to buy homes, to buy vehicles, to expand their physical world. Until then, they have to rely on public transit that doesn't know they exist. We don't make it easy, so why should they stay? Our transit service is more than a bus and a road. The transit service is supposed to be a valuable community asset. It makes lives successful. A transit service makes communities grow, enabling the future. A transit service enables everyone to reduce their carbon footprint where and when they can. Public transit enables so very much. King's Transit Authority abandons customers on the side of the road. King's Transit Authority does not address customers' complaints. King's Transit Authority has difficulty telling time. King's Transit Authority does not strive to improve service times or adjusting routes to accommodate where people live to where people are going. King's Transit Authority does not clean up its mess. People have to wait so long for their bus. King's Transit Authority does not enable. Digby County needs a viable public transit service. I believe that you've gotten 2 notes from me that given individual details. All I can do is keep adding to them, and I'm sure you've heard from other people. We need transit. I'm sorry, we don't need King's Transit. Anybody have any questions?
Then I'm going to explain what I have obviously stated, that we agreed a few weeks ago to finish the study, which will be up to a year to finish. That study is going to help us with groups, with the 9 participants. And as I said, it was the first time 9 municipalities got together through Zoom, but we each had our own meeting to agree to finish off the study. It's been cumbersome and long to do because it involves so many municipalities. I also have said that the routes will be being looked at, and it may be a decision that this is not the place to go, and it may be a decision that tweaks different buses, more buses. The talk was having 2 buses, with the run being so that when one's coming back, one's going, so that you're not having any kind of wait. Again, that's all gossip, not gossip, it's past gossip, but it's all brought up and brought forward. I also said that there has not been a manager for King's Transit. There has been an intern who has been doing King's Transit and Valley Waste, which they realize now you can't do both jobs. And they, again, waiting for everything to put those things into place. They do feel, though, that there should be one major finance officer with staff in both places. That one officer oversees both things. Yes, we do know it's a huge cost, and we do know people need to use the transit, just from the phone calls I received. But I also understand the frustration. When you call and you ask for the bus on that bus thing, and it's not working, and it's not letting you know, it's very frustrating. And those are the kind of things we need to improve upon immediately. But until we have things in place, so we listen to what, and it's frustrating for us too, for what that study is doing and done, then we can make proper decisions. And you need to make informed decisions before you do anything.
But that doesn't help the people when there's no one in the office to answer the phone after hours and weekends when there's no bus. And the app is unfortunately not available.
It's not available right now?
I don't know about right now, but I know on Saturday, because I mentioned in the second letter, it's convenient that it goes down when there's no bus, but King's Transit can't put up that the bus is down from Mechanical Knee.
Say the last sentence, sorry. I didn't catch what you just said.
Basically, King's Transit can turn off the app, but they didn't post on their website that the bus had broken down. And I discovered our new immigrants, I'm old, I get lazy. I had 2 languages from 2 different families waiting for the same bus at the same bus stop. How do these people know when they're just standing there? Now what do they do? Now I know they're supposed to be responsible for themselves, and I think they're incredibly capable of that. I don't think I could go to another country with a suitcase and start over. But there needs to be respect from King's Transit to us people living in Digby County.
Mm-hmm. Which I understand and I do appreciate, and we will be bringing up these concerns as well. I have an upcoming meeting that I will be discussing these. I mean, I can understand your frustration. Our biggest concerns, of course, is our schedule, keeping to the schedule. Because 5 minutes is okay. Not always, but within 5 minutes.
5 minutes is great.
But you don't want to be, as you were saying, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and not know.
Right. And it's the not knowing. Like,
Yeah.
who do you phone to say, I can't be there, I'm sorry, and who to come get you?
Yeah.
We're making people dependent upon others when there is no need for it.
Yes, David, and then George.
Yeah, I've been a skeptic about King's Transit for many years, sort of for costing utility, but we do need local transit. We have no local transit for my district at all. So it is tough when people don't have that option, but luckily we all are our heads together and drive people back and forth ourselves. My complaints about the cost and the service, it's always been met with wait for the study. They will address this. Well, to give you an idea just how little flexibility we have under the past contract, we couldn't even give free tickets to say seniors for the empty seats in the bus. We had to pay full amount to King's Transit for our own empty seats for a ticket. It just, I don't know. It seems incredibly expensive to me, like hundreds of thousands of dollars more than I would think, and it's only one line.
Transit is expensive. There's no way around that.
Mm-hmm.
But your contract is not a contract. That's, I'm sorry, it's abuse. It's a one-sided contract.
We sign those sorts of contracts a lot. RCMP is another example. We paid for 14, we got none.
Right.
Great contract.
Yeah, no, it seems the government protects itself, but there is private enterprise that can provide buses, and if we can build a backbone, we can take spurs off it and add to it and make it work.
I've always been curious what Yarmouth and Annapolis does, but I don't think anybody ever speaks to them.
I have spoken to Yarmouth. Their bus system in the town of Yarmouth works excellent.
Geez, I wonder what they pay for it.
I don't know what they pay. I haven't looked at the statements. What I did is I asked people when they got off the bus, do you like your bus? I had spent a fair amount of time in Yarmouth recently. I didn't get one complaint. And I'm kind of going, wow. So I'm kind of going, and of course I asked, why don't we go from Weymouth to Yarmouth? I mean, a lot of us go to Yarmouth for a number of reasons. We probably go there instead of up the valley, but we can't get there. And as far as local to Halifax and Stanfield, that bus, my daughter has randomly gone to the airport to meet her boyfriend, has gone into Halifax with friends. The bus has been on time. She says it's nothing like what the brother has to put up with. And that's a big bus, and that's covering a huge track of land on time. No planning, just randomly get on the bus and go. Kids can do that. So.
All right, George, your question?
Over the last 3 or 4 months, how many times did the bus not showing up for half an hour or whatever?
Half an hour?
Or an hour. Or not showing up at all. How many times?
Oh, not show up at all. I'm averaging about once every 10 days. And how do I know? Well, we wait 50 minutes. The bus doesn't come. Then I drive from Sobeys to Gilbert's Cove. Only once have I seen the bus and had to turn around and get back in 3 years. The rest of the time I've gone pick him up and the bus still doesn't show. No, I'm not wasting my time to go find out every time if it's not running. As far as late, it's supposed to leave Digby at 7:20. Frequently leaves at 7:05, so we miss the bus. It's supposed to ride at 4:38. 5:50 is, we're cool with that. There's days it's been 2 hours and 17 minutes late. How do you miss a whole loop? I'm sorry, but if he had to rely upon the bus, he would be unemployed. I've talked to employers, Sobeys and Superstore. Both employers bend over backwards. Some employees come in an hour ahead of shift. So the two buses would solve that problem. And a lot of times the employees don't show up because the bus doesn't work. When you're working 6 hours and you're already 2.5 hours late, you're not going to get much money.
What about the app? How often is the app on?
That's occasionally. But the main part with the app is they don't put notices on it because when something happens, either they don't want to admit it or it's after hours or weekend and nobody's there to take the call, to find out and put it up. So unreliable is the polite word.
Do we keep track of that if it doesn't come or if it's not working? Is there anywhere that those numbers are kept track of for us?
I would assume that came through.
Do you mind asking about that next meeting? You'll have to tell David because I won't be.
The next meeting is in
The next
September.
TIR, or I mean, transfer.
Yes, I will be able to talk at the council meeting.
Well, right, check it out.
Yeah, you will still be here.
Oh,
Just so you know.
all right.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any questions, anyone? I really appreciate your time, Dave.
Thank you.
I am going to read what was sent to me by Deputy Warden Matthew Ross. To the Warden of the Municipality and fellow councillors, I have read Mr. Boland's letters and requests. I understand his frustration with the level of service of King's Transit. However, after hearing public consultation and their ideas on how to make the service better, the municipality voted unanimously to enter a study with other municipalities and towns associated with the bus service to find solutions to make the bus service better for the future. I would like to see us continue with that agreement and see what that study uncovers and what that recommendations are. Thank you. So, normally we would never make a decision on another presentation.
Okay.
But I am saying, because we are in the middle of a study that we have agreed to, that as soon as that study is over, everything will be being looked at. And I will, if I'm still here, Dave, I will be the first to notify you.
Anytime I can be of assistance, don't hesitate.
I appreciate it. And I do agree, you were very thoughtful, you were very thorough, and I can't understand your frustration. Because I would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really can't.
I worry
But I
about
sympathize.
I worry about the other people and the detriment it has to our community.
Mm-hmm.
So, and all I'm going to do is repeat myself. So I'll say thank you, and I'll join the crowd.
Okay. Thank you. The next is the minutes of June 11th, 2024. Is there any errors or omissions?
I move approval of the minutes for June 11th.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Excuse me.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.
That's, are you entertaining any questions on your conversation there? Okay. Thank you, then I'll be in touch.
Yep. Feel free.
Thank you.
The CAO report. August the 20th, there is no meeting. August the 27th, there is no meeting. August the 3rd at 5, we have Public Works. 6 p.m., we have Bylaw and Policy. September the 10th, Committee of the Whole. September 17th, no meeting. September 24th, Council. The next is the updates from the previous committee of the CAO. Of the update. Is to remind you on August under Digby Marketing and Promotion Levy. As of August 7th, the province has announced new registration regulations for short-term rentals that will require municipalities to issue a letter of approval. We are working to understand this new system and our role. All short-term accommodation providers are supposed to be registered with the province under this new system by September 30th, 2024.
if I could just speak a little more on that, because I think you have been tagged in emails, I know that I've been copied on, and I think some of the rest of you will. So the province has dropped this. We knew it was coming. We didn't know when it was coming. They had hinted at this. We have been providing feedback since January that this was a poorly designed system to try and attach municipalities to a provincial registration program. So this is, you have to register with the province. As part of that, you are required to get a letter from the municipality saying that your type of business, whether it's short-term or traditional hotels, is compliant with the land use bylaws. So no other regulations, but the land use.
Just trying to encourage us to cancel Airbnb, so we take all the hit and they don't. But
Not even so much that, because the way they have worded it, most units, they're Airbnbs and traditional ones are permitted uses. So this is just a very cumbersome step that was announced very suddenly to have these. They're
just
recommending
time for the election, so oh yeah, we are doing something about housing.
the organizations be registered by early September. September 30th is the deadline.
Yeah.
So they announced this last Thursday, I
Right.
believe. I think instantly Friday the front desk started getting calls. We've been working with our development officer, and Tyler put some work into the file. We're ready to start moving forward. We think with staff tomorrow. It is complicated because we have some different zoning in different areas. There's the traditional businesses, and then there's the Airbnb style businesses.
Unless
The
you
best
live
option
near
of
the
people,
one.
if residents reach out, direct them to the office. We have pathways to understand it better. You will likely hear me talk about this more. The provincial registry, we're happy that that is happening. This is supposed to take the next step in discouraging Airbnb and looking after the housing. It was just a clumsy registration system to attach municipalities in this. They've been getting, Tyler's been on the phone calls, he can kind of maybe collaborate with me or on this. They've been getting pushback from municipalities since January on this, that this was a very cumbersome way of tagging us in this process, and not very thought out, right? They're not saying is it, have they met building code requirements? Have they met fire code requirements? They've skipped all of those. This is just land use bylaws, which many municipalities are neutral on Airbnbs unless you've done your update relatively recently. So incredibly challenging, a lot of interaction at the front counter so far. And I'm sure some of you, if you haven't been tagged, you would. So direct them to the office. As of tomorrow, we'll release their kind of processing the letters.
Feel starting to discourage a few people, just even this little tiny non.
Yep, they've increased the fees for Airbnb registration significantly. If you're a traditional provider, your registration fee stayed very much in line with what it was. The rural fee for Airbnb still isn't that. If you have a profitable one, you're still going to pay it. I think in the Halifax area, urban areas, they have some very aggressive fees. But it's a step, like you say. It's a step. It's just unfortunate that they tagged us in this way.
Yeah, because I would think it would be more expensive for us to be concerned with the building code.
Yeah, well, that's.
There's been a lot of fire, especially changes a lot when you're doing this kind of
Commercial.
thing. So there was a lot of feedback provided to the province on that, and they just, in order to get this out under their timeline, they have stuck with land use bylaws.
Anecdotally, I've been hearing that less people are using Airbnbs. I think just from the PR that, destroying new housing affordability. There's a few studies that come out that actually connects percentage increases of rent to the amount of penetration by Airbnbs. And it's pretty convincing. I think. Not that I'm an expert, but
Airbnbs can be good and they can be awful. I had a person come in and use an Airbnb in Halifax, and he said, so he rented his spot or whatever it was, the Airbnb, and the woman told him the next day, she said, "You didn't come in at 3 o'clock in the morning. How dare you come into my property?" And he said, "I'm renting." He said, "Never again do Airbnb." He said, "He'll go to a hotel. He doesn't tell him he has to be in or he says I'm an adult.
For me,
Yeah.
you can't find houses for locals anymore. There's only enough property for the investors from Upper Canada. No, sorry, the States is better. Westport's about half and half.
Okay, then our RCMP, we have a new staff sergeant, which is Grant Ryland, and he has started working with the detachment. He's very easy to speak to. He's willing for anyone to drop in, and he is trying to go into the community. I don't know how much you get with the rain and stuff, but I know he was walking around those solid days.
What's his name again?
Grant, Grant Ryland, Ryland. I've already met with him. Very, very pleasant and plans on being involved and, keeping his officers involved in the community. So he does.
So does he mean we have 10 people there now?
We're actually up to
14? Really? When did that happen?
2 weeks ago.
I wonder what they're up to. I'm going to go over there. I got lots of them to do.
Okay. The new land use bylaw is in effect as of April 1st. The province has issued reminder notices to municipalities and facility committees reminding their original plans to be reviewed every 3 years, which means most plans need to be reviewed by April 1st, 2025. And I can tell you, Tyler can't wait. He is dancing about this. The province has also announced another round of cell infrastructure improvements, and we're working to understand their impact in our area. And that's
I'd like to interrupt for 1 second. I looked into, Matt always talks about how the government takes so much money from the cell companies, right? And how onerous it is, and how that's one of the reasons it's so expensive and they can't afford to upgrade their stuff. So it's between 1.5% to 3% of your bill. So negligible. It's a fraction of, GST. Just thought I'd throw that out before we, send another letter, sending a letter.
If I could just comment. So one of the confusing aspects of the announcement in our area, if anyone has looked in it or looked at the map, so we understand when they did the internet, largely in our area, that was sole source, mostly through Bell. We were lucky enough to have an alternative provider in mainland in some areas. And that seems to have worked out. With the cellular, we're trying to understand, so one of the things they've approved for this area is a new tower that they're hosting. I think there's just shy of 100 communities listed in the coverage area of one new tower, but it is, at this point, it's with Rogers, which isn't a company that traditionally has had a high presence in this area. And we, from what we understand currently, don't have the sharing agreements that the others have. So we are trying to, again, trying to understand how that is going to work, or if that is just going to be sole sourced for them, and if the challenges for all the other carriers in this area will continue. I think Bear River was named as a community that there will be a project. They haven't identified the project, the company, what will be done, or what improvements, but they've got Bear River written down as a future project. So it was a bit of an unusual announcement that we're trying to make some sense of.
The cell service has simply stopped working for the last 2 weeks in the islands. You can't call cell phone on the islands, period. Landline. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, Bell means its percentage return 4 quarters a year, right? So I guess we can have no emergency services for weeks at a time. It's his bulk. Oh, and 1.5%. So the CRTC pays all the money.
Now, the next is departmental reports. Does anyone have any questions on any of the departments?
So August, not a lot of questions for August. Everybody enjoyed your holiday there, I guess that's.
I just had one comment, just about the tax sale letters. There was a significant decrease this year, so a lot
Yes.
of people pay their tax.
Or they've gone on to the, pay monthly.
Well, that's trying to be good.
I don't know what you call that.
The book down.
There's been a lot of work, I'm gonna say over 4 years, but it'd be honestly more than 4 years to promote that and move customers to that, where they were having challenges with the admin department, so it takes a while to see that success play out, so no, we are very happy to see the less other people involved in any aspect of tax success.
Any other questions or concerns? Okay. I will have a motion to accept the departmental reports, please.
So moved.
Is there- All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. There's nothing under dangerous and unsightly. So our next is our business items. The first one, the Weymouth Fire Department demolition issue. Ask for an answer.
Is this me? Okay. About, almost a year ago, last November, there was a fire in the Weymouth area. And, fire department, of course, they called out, they arrived there. When the fire department arrives at the scene, their first objective is to knock the fire down, make it safe for the firefighters and surrounding community. So, at this fire, the owner was there, happened to be there, and said that they didn't have any insurance, so if they had to call in an excavator or whatever, heavy machinery that he didn't have insurance paid for, and he wasn't gonna pay the bill if they did close. So the deputy fire chief, who is the designate of the fire marshal, until the fire marshal gets there, decided that it was necessary to call in an excavator. They had a wall still standing, and to make it safe for his personnel, he went ahead and called an excavator at a cost of $1,000. So the owner said he wasn't going to pay for it, so the department, that falls back on him. And they talked to me about it, and they feel that they hope that the municipality could do it. And I don't think that when they arrive at a fire, the fire chief or the deputy or whatever should have to worry about whether there's insurance on that building or where the money's going to come from. His objective is to knock the fire down and make it safe. And if he has to wait around and think, okay, well, contact the owner, find out if there's insurance. How are we going to pay for this or whatever? And to me, that's not efficient.
But it's not efficient. Never mind. I'd like to have other people's opinions. Oh, we'll start with you, Jeff.
I think George is likely being extra polite to me or attempting to be. So I have denied this request, I think, no less than 6 times at this point. So mainly due to the fact we don't have a budget line for this, which is where my authority ends on this. So we have been in discussions with the fire department, I think, as soon as the day. The original bill was actually delivered to our office first, because the fire department was aware of this situation. So we've had a fair bit of conversation with the department. I think the department got frustrated with my answers and thought they might get some different answers through Tyler, and tried working with Tyler for a while, who quickly came to the same conclusions that due to how this transpired, our current policies don't support us paying this. There have been similar situations, and if it's the next day and our staff are contacted under dangerous and unsightly, which I know is very different from the situation, then dangerous and unsightly, we are able to attach it, as you're all aware, to property taxes, right? Which is different than us paying it, but that is our power under dangerous and unsightly. And we've done that before. So this one is different than this. We don't see a lot of these in the 10 years that I have been involved with fire services. We've only had one other situation, Unfortunately, it was with the same department, a different situation. It was a building in downtown Weymouth that had been abandoned and was concern of it catching to adjacent properties.
Are they not asking because they know they'll be told no, and other fire departments are just absorbing this cost?
When we've had the discussions, and again, there could be different answers, but cause we have done some exploring around this discussion from the past time in this, that one of the reasons why the firefighters knew to have the conversation about do you have insurance is it is a standard procedure to find that out, just so they're aware of that when they're making that choice on the excavator is the only time we're aware that these kind of costs have come into play, right? Most of now it's different, and we don't deal with it. In the town of Digby, for example, there's been a number of fires where very, very quickly the excavator is called in before that information is determined. And I believe in that case, if needed, the town would likely play a role, but in most of those cases, because those are commercial buildings, there is insurance at play. We understand that most of ours make that operational decision because most of the fires we're fighting are rural. There is potentially another situation. I definitely understand there are safety concerns and the department is able to make their own operational decisions. So it is a tricky situation, but there are those.
Is this maybe one of the things that should be discussed in the review?
Probably.
Maybe it's small enough too that wouldn't be fun. I wouldn't have a problem with it.
But the problem is.
And then it's the policy, and then people come back and say, hey,
Yeah.
like we've heard recently.
And to me.
I've heard recently.
To me, then you go through the owner and it's called civil court.
Mhm.
I mean, but it's council's decision, but, how do you think, Angela?
Well, it was brought to my attention too after Jeff and Tyler, after they went to Jeff and Tyler, they brought it to the association and Naples apparently has a rule that if it happens that it comes off of the tax, it's added to their tax bill, but I'm sure that there must be a process similar to what you said about the dangerous and unsightly for that to happen. And then I think Claire said that they had a slush fund for when that happened. So
our answers, including them.
Yeah, we should.
I think what Jeff mentioned is dangerous and unsightly.
We have a there's a tool in the toolkit there.
And there is other tools, like, I'm not saying they're great tools, there are other tools that can be explored as part of this, right? If your wish is that those things get explored, I'm just kind of saying, with our current, like, you guys could add a budget line, whether it's in fire service or another one, and we cover these. We can have a policy that's clearer, right? The dangerous and unsightly is a tricky one because it's not the day of, right? It's normally the day after, and the departments have to be aware. Like I said, we do have apartments around here. I think there was a fire a couple of years ago in the Warden's district where that's how it was handled. Dangerous and unsightly the next morning, the property was taken down safely while it was still smoldering, but we understand that isn't. And I think as part of this conversation, Councilor Manager has supplied me with the information that it is Claire and Annapolis that have these alternative policies that we are going to, like I said, I'll wait and say, we could explore that if council is looking for me to explore that more as to what those units are
I think it
doing.
would be good, but I think we need the fire review first. I'm like Dave, Councilor Tudor. The fire review that's gonna be coming up.
Because we ad hoc events.
So, I think it would be a good idea if we had, like, just a special line on our budget.
And then something.
Put
we
it
can look at
2,000
for
aside
next
each year for 2-3 years. Since it's only been 2 and 10 years, then maybe we don't use the money in the first couple of years.
Does that give us an option to add it on to the person?
No, see, that's the piece of it.
And then we're paying for it.
That's right, and really, like, secure insurance.
Yes.
To cover those types of
I agree.
expenses, so.
And that's why I'm curious about the Annapolis example. Claire's sounds more like the budget solution.
Yeah.
And we have been through, and we've had admin staff through. The fire department did some fantastic research, and Tyler and I were hopeful that they had found something that we had missed, and the admin department, because we said, like, this should be attached to the owner,
That's right.
right? Like, there is an owner of the property here that is well aware of the bill, has refused acceptance of it.
I can't refuse acceptance of lots of types of bills.
Right? So that would be the ideal. So like I say, I have no problem exploring what Annapolis is doing to
Yes.
see if there is.
So I think we'll give you direction to
Yeah,
check out
direction.
Annapolis and Claire, especially Annapolis. If
Can I make a motion, or just,
you can make a motion,
I would like to put forward a motion that we pay it out of whatever fund we can find, and then do the budget thing for next year. I don't think $1,000 is a lot to run fire department, budget.
okay, and I understand that you're making the motion, is there a seconder to that motion? Is there a seconder to that motion? Is there a seconder to that motion? Your motion has been won. I understand where you're coming from, but
I know you feel like,
Yeah.
I have a fire department that doesn't have a building. And there's no help for them.
so our next is the Innovative Communities Fund project data. And what they're asking for is
It's the middle paragraph there. I know you're in the PDF system. It seems extra blurry.
on the Innovative Communities project, they're asking that we put someone on for a 2-year period. What I'd like to do with elections coming up is to hold off. In the meantime, if it's feasible, myself could go to a meeting as a
Observer.
in between, but but I think we should be waiting. It doesn't make sense to put someone on and we're having an election in 2 minutes.
No. I agree completely.
Okay, so if they need someone to have a meeting, I can attend.
Would you be okay if I asked or just had a friendly conversation with them about why our rep on the levy committee can't be part of it?
Yes.
So right now, how it works, Angela is on data
Yes.
representing council. And so because she's involved in data, it made sense for council to put Angela on the levy committee.
Right.
Because she understands the industry.
Yeah.
And now we're excluding the counselor that knows the most about tourism or is the most
Right.
involved is being asked to be excluded from a 2-year commitment
Why?
to improve
Why?
tourism.
What's the
We don't
Well, that's what I want to ask, just to make
why?
sure I'm,
Yeah.
if I'm
because-
missing the
we can make
conflict
it
of
a
interest or.
subcommittee, like,
Because so I'll be out front when it's brought up, I said, oh, Angela. And I said, Linda, did you read that right? But then I went, yeah, Angela. He said, no, not. And I went, oh.
And I can just see potentially after the election, we'll have the same, it seems like a natural fit,
Yeah.
but I just want to understand that more. So we'll provide that information with them until after the election. And,
Is everyone agree? Okay. The next is the Bear River and Area Community Health Community Grant. As you saw,
What do we have left of that? Do we have?
well, we had said that if they got the money from the other source, we give them a chance.
Okay, I remember. Yeah.
All right, that didn't happen. Oh, it didn't happen. But I think they're asking now for half, which I was told we have money because we had that 10 set aside. That they're asking for 5,000 to help. And Angela, go ahead. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I met with the committee and yes, they put in for a grant and apparently it was only 20% available for the amount of applications they had.
That's pretty
So
run of
very
the mill.
few of the applicants get their money. And so they did go to them and asked why they were not selected, and they said that they felt that they gave it to the organizations that contributed the most to an individual community. So that's why they didn't get the money. It is a very dire need right now for them to have the roof repaired. So they did ask if we would reconsider because we had agreed to give them the money if they got the funding from the other source, but now they would just like to do as much as they can on the roof, and they have done fundraising, and I think they've got over $9,000.
I make a motion for that. I give $5,000 for the OP community center.
No.
Everything was good, but one
Bear
word
River
there.
and Area Community Health Center.
They'll just,
Planning.
yes, there. I stand corrected.
And I'll second that motion.
So just including that we will give 5,000 to the Bear River and Area Community Health, Clinic. Okay? So, all in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. The next, the Oak Team letter of support. Remember, I had an email sent out because I needed that letter of support, and we agreed by email. We now have to ratify that at committee of the whole.
Any ratification of the letter of support for the Oakland Suffrage?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Under correspondence is our response about the art gallery closure. Emma,
What do they say?
what do you think?
I don't remember. Get bent.
They
My
said
guess.
go away.
I love that they have every important thing from this end of the province is in Halifax, from the house for Mom Lewis to the hand dug canoe from Briar Island.
Yeah.
It's all, thank God, it's all safely kept 5 hours away, 4 hours away.
So,
As far from the community, our communities we could possibly put it.
but they did thank us for our support of the art. But the answer's still no.
Maybe the Liberals were going to put like $100 million art gallery. They got maybe instead of the hospital. That was it. Even the hospital or art gallery.
Okay, there's no other business. We have any camera, that's contractual, so I am going to thank everyone for coming. We'll take a 5-minute.
Pretty exciting stuff, guys. Hope you hold on to your